2-1. So a little bit of a different approach, but for both of these teams, like Gojo mentioned, the same thing is on the line to remain in the upper bracket to secure yourself the day off tomorrow. Pretty much guarantee third place as well. So pretty cool. A lot of the line here for these two. And I know exactly where we're going.
Luca黒蜜糖 is now live. ストリーミングデルタフォース HYDRANGEA 公認ミラー配信デルタフォース世界大会を日本語で観戦ルカ黒蜜糖 HYDRANGEA ハットフェルカシー
But they both had totally different play styles and really results of the way their matches went. Reminder, HYD, they played AHR off rip. And frankly, they stopped them, like you mentioned. Let's take a little bit about this roster. Talk to me about some of the heavy hitters on this roster. Who are the difference makers? Why were they able to roll AHR so easily? Obviously, Commander, RCCK, maybe did a great job. Anybody else?
There's only really one
来ました
out to be healthy. Like you mentioned, it was an absolute stomp, and we didn't really get to see a lot of this team. But one thing that we did get to see a lot of was
こんばんは
2A on the bow on Nox yesterday was absolutely popping off. And let's take a look about the map that we're going to be checking out. It's going to be Grad again. You do have Sector A where it's going to be a lot of boots on the ground versus boots on the ground in that initial engagement. So I'm kind of looking towards 2KA to start things off pretty heavily on the side of HYD.
ロックくん頑張って
Said they do have the giants, the titans of RRQ to go against. Their kind of approach to this tournament, the reason that they are here, it felt like they were very, very motivated yesterday to go ahead and take down TXD, right? That rematch. They felt like they were getting discounted the last time that they took down TXD. So they wanted to go ahead and have a same result, go ahead and beat them again. They did just that, and they got to be feeling good coming into the competition today.
Led by Krauser, and an interview yesterday by Laraf after their win really did show that story of what they've been able to accomplish. Again, they win their regionals, they win the Pan Pacific. It was a great matchup, and they ended up beating this TXD squad, and so being able to beat them again was exactly what Vivid just said. It was proof in the pudding. They wanted to prove that it wasn't a fluke. So far, they've done that, and they have to continue to do that. If they want a chance to win this entire competition, which Vivid said that he thinks they can, they got to take down HYD. A really strong team, but still having a lot to prove, I think, in comparison between the two. RRQ, they went to Game 3. We saw a ton of them. We know exactly the way these players play. We know that Musa is going to be a big difference maker for this roster. Popey was a top stat leader for these teams. And so in general, we understand how RRQ plays. We've barely ever seen HYD play because of how dominant they were in Aftershock, and it was kind of a weird game anyways. And so I'm excited to see what HYD can do and learn a little bit more about the way these players compete and who's going to be emphasized moving into a map like Cracked.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why this 5-day competition is so fun, because even though we come into the specific event knowing enough about these teams to kind of, see and predict how they're going to do, we just continuously learn more and more about these teams. So like Gojo mentioned, very, very excited to kind of learn what HYD still have to offer. Let's take a look at our predictions. Gojo is back on the Vivid train, 2-0 for RRQ. And listen, by the way, I'm 7 for 7.
I don't care what your record is. I don't like it that I agree with you. It's way more fun to be against you. But I just feel like RRQ have this, man. What we saw from them yesterday was so special. I think they're the better team. I would love to be proven wrong. I've been wrong a lot in today's broadcast, but that's the fun part of it because I just can't bring myself to agree with Vivid. But this one feels like it's going to be another convincing win. Today has been all 2-0s, and it's been 2-0 domination sweeps. Not even close. I'd like to see a really good match here to end the day with a bang. RRQ could certainly bring the heat, and I think the biggest question mark is just whether or not HYD can answer. Currently, our predictions are saying they can't. Again, would love to be wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those weird things as well where RRQ did feel so motivated by the fact that on the opposition was TXD.
Yeah.
Can they kind of carry that motivation over into a different head-to-head? I mean, I'm sure they can. They have the skill needed to go ahead and do so, but again, they just felt so passionate yesterday about taking down TXD. That's probably what, helped them secure it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Oftentimes, sports, esports, it doesn't matter. When you're playing your rivals, if that's who they are, which it sounds like they are rivals, you play totally different. You play with an extra bit of fire, an extra bit of passion.
Yeah.
You're able to execute a little bit better because of that. Sometimes it'll actually mess you up too, but RRQ did great under pressure. So expecting them to come out on top. We both expect this to be a 2-0. Again, I would love to be surprised. Biggest takeaways from their matchup against TXT? Anything that you would walk away and say, hey, this is what RRQ really thrived in that matchup?
I mean, Ascension.
True.
Just the
True.
map. They were so good at Ascension. Also, you know, we've kind of talked about this across the board here for multiple teams. Some of those teams that seem to be very, very good have those squads that kind of flank. RRQ have one of them.
Well, let's take a look at the players walking into the stadium and see how they're feeling.
2026三角洲行动全面战场国际邀请赛。
Welcome to 2026 Delta Force Invitational Warfare.
有请 HYD 战队。
Please welcome Team HYD.
凌越巅峰，问鼎冠军。
Overstrike.
有请 RRQ 战队。
Please welcome Team RRQ.
中框归于 RRQ。
Viva RRQ.
"并肩作战，信任为盾，配合为刃，向着正角组决赛拿下这场关键对决。
One crucial battle stands between them at the upper bracket final.
Well, here we go. Our competitors are ready. I am pumped about this matchup, and I gotta say, the alt jerseys are looking nice. I like the purple there for RRQ. Changing it up on day 2. What do you think?
I mean, that is slick. That is clean. Love to see it. What else is slick and what else is clean is those walkouts, man. I've yet to go ahead and get over to that tunnel and get one of my own. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. Gojo's got to be my cameraman, man. Help me out a
we
little
should
bit.
do a walkout for Grand Finals Day in our suits. That would kind of be
Dude,
kind of
see?
nice.
Now he
Chad,
agrees with me.
Chad, if you want to see that, let us know. You may not care. But anyways, hey, let's talk about RRQ and HYD a little bit more now that they've walked out and we can see their fits and how they're feeling. Again, I think this is going to be a matchup that is a little less one-sided than some of the others, but we still both predicted a 2-0. Somebody else we didn't mention on the RRQ side, on the HYD side, that was an impact player and a squad leader was Hazmat.
Yeah.
Remember what Hazmat was able to do with his roster? That is going to be the Charlie squad to watch out for. Hazmat, Mume, Mirika, and Lise is the squad that I think could be a difference maker for this team. Given what we've seen, we're not 100% certain who will really change the game for the roster or what even roles they play because it was such a quick matchup and Aftershock played a little bit weird. But I do think Hazmat, from what we do remember and what we have seen in the past as well, is an impact player and a squad leader, meaning that squad will likely move as a unit.
Speaking about who we've seen pop off in the past, I know we've seen Killua pop off in the past as well from the side of HYD, but obviously, you know, nothing from the past really matters. Again, it kind of feels like we're going to be seeing HYD for what feels like the first time. Like, yeah, obviously we saw them play yesterday. They won, they stomped. It was 2-0. It's very, very quick. But we keep saying it was on Aftershock. It was just a weird game, how it kind of played out. So I'm very, very excited to kind of see how they kind of face up against RRQ, who, you know, Goj keeps pointing out. I pointed out earlier on, this is actually the team that I think looks the best right now to go ahead and take home the competition in general. Of course, I'll go ahead and answer that question in full after we do get an opportunity to go ahead and watch match number 8. But as a quick reminder, we are here in Wuhan, China, and so are the players as well. Hongshan Sports Center. It has been very, very enjoyable so far. I've loved the setup of the stage as well. A little bit of a change, you know, over the course of the past 6 months to the stage itself, and these players have done a great job of just jumping on the stage and getting ready immediately to keep things rolling here today.
Good shout. Been having a blast. Taking a look at HYD, Bravo Squad, Charlie Squad, Echo. Looks like most of the same, by the way, when it comes to their starting lineups. Both of these teams don't have full roster of subs, and no major changes from day 1 to day 2. And again, teams representing their regions well, but right now it is about team chemistry and communication. It'll be fun to compare also the difference between Krauser and RCCK, maybe the two commanders of HYD and RRQ. Again, every time we've watched a team, every commander has a different role, a different play style they prefer, but the onus of responsibility remains the same. Got to communicate effectively. You've got to make the right calls. And then the squads have to listen.
We've called out a lot of the individual prowess for both of these squads, but I took one last little peek at the rosters here to remind myself one player on the side of RRQ that I feel like we did not go ahead and talk about was Ragnarsson. And I feel like Ragnarsson actually was a part of our highlight reels quite a bit yesterday after their win. Just based off of the sniper. Yes, indeed. And the reason why I wanted to go ahead and point that out is because a lot of the times on Cracked, we see some of these players do just that. They pick up a sniper and they like to play off in the distance, which they can find a lot of impact on the back foot of that. So it'll be interesting to see if Ragnarsson kind of follows that up with another sniper performance here on Cracked. It's a little bit of a map change than what they played yesterday, right? And kind of those highlights were coming from the map of Ascension, which is a much bigger map. But again, I feel like Cracked does employ the opportunity to go ahead and bring that out. So I'll be looking towards his squad and the Delta squad to see if they go ahead and do that.
I mean, speaking of Cracked, while we've got some time here, let's bring up some of the main strategies we see on Cracked. Let's talk about operator comps. Biggest question mark is how many engineers are you going to invest in the early part of Cracked when you know there's no vehicles, at least off rip?
0.
But you get them pretty quickly. And we saw
so
how
swap.
much you can swap. You can run, obviously, Assault. You can just run Virons and get those magnetic bombs. But those vehicles traditionally aren't going to get super aggressive. They're going to play the back line. But if you have enough engineers, you can still take it down before it lands. You then get the score bonus. You get the score lead, rather, and you're able to pull in some of your own vehicles. That's the nature of the game. Again, I think something else that we don't talk about that often, this is Victory Unite. So you can call in a ton of vehicles in this game mode because of what Commander is able to do. And so that kind of changes the way Cracked is played. Like, this is a much more vehicle-heavy map than it traditionally is in just pubs.
Yeah.
Because it's Victory Unite.
Absolutely. I feel like probably during Warfare competitive matches, the moment that we probably see the operator of the same played the most across the board is probably the initial onslaught on Cracked. I feel like we probably have like 10+ stingers is what it kind of feels like for both sides of the board. We'll kind of try to pay attention to those operators as we do kind of jump into things. Quick reminder, what's on the line for both of these teams. This is a upper bracket match. Both of these teams are currently 1-0 after winning
go.
yesterday. They want to stay in the upper bracket. They want to go to the upper bracket final to go ahead and do it. They're going to be starting things here. HYD, they're going to be on the defense. RRQ, they're going to be on the attack. And as we know it, we're of course going back to crack for the second time today. Earlier on, it felt like an absolute stomp. Are we going to get a little bit more of an even matchup? Time will tell. It's up to RRQ and HYD.
Here we go. How fast are the attackers going to swarm the point? The answer is immediately. They are full sending around street view, actually. They're going to go street level first, try to play smoke and run around the outside. Going to be met with Mirka, who immediately falls. A nice early aggressive stance here for RRQ, and they are lighting up the kill feed. Things going well for them currently as the defense have tried to maintain the high ground position that traditionally is attacked by the attackers. And in that motion, RRQ swing around the other way and say, fine, you can have high ground. We're jumping the point.
Yeah, I'm trying to count how many squads are over here for the side of HYD. It looks like there's 2 full squads, which leaves them with 8 members. But even though they do have the numbers advantage, right, 8 on what feels like 4, the side of RRQ has done a great job of going ahead and dwindling down some of these numbers, but because of the medics, they're actually going to be able to pick all of them up. Ragnarsson is trying to go ahead and make something happen, but he's going to be thwarted. And while all of this action is going down, they're fighting for what feels like nothing. The RRQ are actually on the sector itself. None of the members of RRQ might sneak this one away.
I like this strategy a lot. That feels like they've read the playbook of HYD. They knew that HYD is going to go play high ground. They were going to play the top of the ridge. And so they didn't even bother trying to egress there. They swing all the way around the flank, smoke and run, clear out a couple people trying to hold the flank. Those defenders that were just trying to hold the flank were prepared for maybe a squad, not 15 of the 20 players on the map. Immediate capture, immediately RRQ looking like the stronger team. But that's just Sector A. Sector B is a whole different beast.
An over-investment for sure. Trying to prepare for the flank from RRQ, but it never really came in. They only sent 4 members over towards that flank. Now HYD going to be under immediate pressure again towards this B1 zone. This is kind of typical of Cracked, but HYD are also going to have instant access to that tank, as is the side of RRQ. Both of these sides want to go ahead and keep these vehicles alive because you pretty much need it, obviously, for the B sector, but you also need it for the C sector. You need it for the rest of the game. We'll have to keep a close eye on which one of these 2 teams can go ahead and press the advantage when it comes down to the vehicles. As we tune in, some of our players on the map, yeah, for sure, playing the snipers, but not necessarily finding too much value out of that. RRQ are going to go ahead and capture B1, and they have not lost a single ticket so far. Still at 180. 179.
Classic playstyle here. I would say classic playstyle. The defense usually sack B1 in order to control B2 effectively. Problem. They didn't do that. They are giving away B1, or it feels that way, and they have nobody on B2. Look at where they're positioned. The defenders are cut between both points.
What the heck?
The attack could just take both. The only thing stopping them from taking B2 is Lance in the tank with the rest of his gunners that are in there with him, these engineers. This is brutal to watch. That feels like a huge mistake from HYD not to just sacrifice B1 and set up a perimeter around B2, play on point, play in the courtyard, set up in the building, take the high ground, play with Lance, your tank operator. They get over-aggressive and go for a high-risk retake of B1, and they can't even get out of the trench between the 2 points. Caught between tank and 15 guns, and the whole B sector is gone in a blink of an eye. What on earth?
We've seen some dominant performances in Warfare before, but this, I wouldn't even count it as a collapse of the defense. I'm just going to go ahead and say there's been no defense. What is happening? HYD, they're trying to make stuff happen on the flanks. Have they forgot about the zones themselves? Look at this. They're kind of just playing on the outskirts of every single one of these zones. And RRQ, they're probably feeling a little bit confused. Look at this. They're also trying to press the advantage towards the tank that's on 25% HP. Almost finds the final blow right there. The explosions are actually making their way into the warehouse right now, down to about 10 HP, trying to make the repairs come in to keep that tank alive. And take a look at this. Yeah, again, HYD, they have this position up with the house that they're interested in holding. but they're not pushing in towards B2, and maybe that's because they're actually pushing towards B1. The tug of war is actually coming in. This is very, very familiar with what you've seen. Finally, HYD making a play happen towards one of these zones.
Yeah, it was the right play. They didn't have a home. They didn't have anywhere to go, so they have to go play for the retake of B1 just so they don't just give away the B sector for free and hope and pray that things happen for them on the C sector. Now, I will say you can see that a great actual play, whether they know it or not, B1 was actually selected by Krauser in what they wanted to capture. Bad news, not going to get that score. So this is even a bigger deal for HYD to gain back some momentum. They don't get the extra score from that necessarily, nothing huge at least, but they at least stop this Krauser commander and RRQ from earning a bunch of score that they could utilize to call in more vehicles and therefore gain a vehicle advantage. Good job from HYD to stop the bleeding. They then call in the urgent redeployment to make sure that they're able to keep control over it as the last remaining members of the attackers are being cut down over on B2. Where do they go? Back to B1. Our tug of war is beginning now. The question is, will it go back and forth, or will this be the final hold and the final pull here for the defense on B1? Will they just stand their ground? And currently it's looking like that's the case.
A key part of what makes this work usually for the side of an attack and why they're favored in a moment like this is because they have the tank that's going to be closest to B1. Actually, the tank, the vehicle, usually defends B1 solo. Doesn't really ever need any help from boots on the ground. But obviously, as it currently stands, does need a little bit of assistance, and that's because there are so many bodies on the point in B1, right? They're all tucked away in that building with respawn beacons galore, trying to make something happen.
By the way, Ragnarsson was sniping and was 11-3, so
nasty.
We take those. Solid scoreline.
Tug of war. Tug of war goes as B1 is now fully captured, but take a look at this. There are 0 red bodies on the B2 point, and HYD are trying to make something happen.
Yeah, a classic trading of a 2-sector capture zone. I mean, this is, or 2-zone capture sector. This is classic warfare here, and at least HYD is throwing it in a bit of chaos in order to not give away this entire sector at once. It was almost a brutal awakening to this match, but a pretty good job here to slow things back down after the pace of play was fiery from RRQ. They've got a really nice defensive line set up on the backside, and unfortunately, no! Talavanya able to connect on the back line, and Lance goes down. Talk about a change in momentum. I was just lauding HYD for the defensive line, but with Lance down and another tank being called in for RRQ, RRQ have just about every position and advantage they need besides this B2 zone. They should be able to take the rest of the B sector here shortly.
I want to see them press the advantage as hard as they possibly can. You're up 3-0 in the vehicle side of things right now. Get one of those tanks onto the point right now, even if it feels a little bit risky. I want to see them capture this very, very soon. HYD, the only thing that they have left is to just put bodies on the point, put bodies up on the rooftops, and try to go ahead and find a vehicle destruction of their own. Correction, I did go ahead and mention that RRQ had 3 vehicles. I thought they did because they called in 2 all the way on the backside. Maybe they lost one in transition, but just like I requested, V9 is using the tank directly onto the zone itself and is going to be a big help in clearing out some of the remaining members from the side of HYD. This is a great attack from RRQ. Great job from the engineers to go ahead and take out that tank. But look at this, HYD. We know exactly what the game plan is now. Surrender B2 and go for B1 as much as we possibly can. But now that we have 2 tanks available to us, surely this doesn't work as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is, again, another classic strategy. When you've watched this map over and over again in comp, there's only so many things you can do. A pretty good job from HYD to try to retake here, but when you have vehicle advantage, especially when they're playing aggressive with their vehicle advantage, you put one vehicle on B2, you put the other tank dead center of B1. You almost don't need anybody else because you got a full squad that can play from that tank, pop out. Engineers can shoot their gun if they want, pop back in, heal, repair. Doesn't matter. That tank's going to do a crazy amount of damage and an easy hold on B1. Here's another retake, though, on the backside of B1. Well executed, well organized. 2 full squads come swinging this direction. Now with the tank gone, the tank has to choose, now can I take 8 people down? Well, make it 7 because Ragnarsson's landing his sniper shots. In the meantime, Musa doesn't care, and he didn't ask, finding a vehicle from a distance. Now 3 tanks, 3 vehicles, one of which is a tank destroyer. Says, well, maybe a single tank can't do it? With the help of a destroyer, the help of Krauser, we retake here. We take B sector. Well executed.
Yeah, I was wondering how HYD were finding the space to go ahead and just keep flooding this point. taking a look at the hills off in the distance, right on the outskirts of B1. There's like 3 respawn beacons down, so 3 squads pretty much have instant access to that, but the strategy is going to fall short as soon as the vehicles start to join the fray. RRQ have a big advantage going into Sector C. That being said, they did lose their tank on B1 right now, and actually Krauser is under heavy fire right now. They're trying to make something happen. HYD, they were still spawning on those beacons, but he's able to go ahead and take the remaining members out. Sightline set towards Sector C, and I feel like RRQ got to be feeling pretty good at where they currently stand, because remember, Mauza sitting all the way back with that tank should be able to continuously take out all of the vehicles that get called in from the side of HYD.
This LAV, or LAV, as chat wants me to say. I like LAV better. Called in, 3rd vehicle for the side of RRQ. They've got everything they need under the sun to get this win. Now it's just a matter of execution. HYD trying to hold the line. That's Hazmat, that's Lise, that's Mume. At the top with Mirka trying to help out, but they're just outnumbered and outgunned right now, doing everything they can to keep each other on their feet and keep fighting. Unfortunately, they'll lose most bodies onto C1, a classic early aggression, and another classic shot here from Mauza, way up on the ridge, hitting their shots on the floating parachuting vehicle that this HYD team desperately needs.
Yeah, super hard to counter strat. The approach from the attack is very, very common. This is what we always see, but it's why we kind of talk about how important it is to keep that initial tank alive. So when it did get destroyed, RRQ did such a good job, and it was a big momentum swing. Now, speaking about momentum swings, the tank destroyer is trying to get Swifty towards C2. It does take a lot of damage, but it is able to go ahead and get out of there. It's got to be careful, though, man. Some of those sweeps are very, very scary, and you can see a bunch of engineers are poised up all the way from the backside of the map. You got to imagine they're going to be calling in a vehicle and trying to protect it every which way that they can. Nope.
Those vehicles are dying like off spawn in the air. Talk about coordinated shots. I mean, that's probably the highest I've seen a vehicle explode in the air. That's not an actual jet or helicopter. Anyways, V9 DHM on your screen right now, and the log just getting active downrange. This is one of the choke points on Cracked. It's one of the ways you can find so much value. Also, Talavania picking up like 6 at the kill feed in their vehicle. This is utter destruction right now. Again, it's warfare, and vehicles are a huge piece of it. But in Victory Unite, Cracked becomes much more of a vehicle game than it traditionally is in pubs, and I brought that up for this very reason, because you have to utilize your advantage. When you have the advantage, you talked about this last time we played Cracked, Vivid, you have to take these vehicles out before they hit the ground. And it's even easier, frankly, in Cracked, as long as you're aware of where the vehicles likely will be called in from. The quote-unquote safest place for the defense to call in their vehicles is behind the one, I'll call it a skyscraper, the one tall building on the far side. Looks like Javier may be in a bit of trouble. But if you know that, you're going to play to destroy it every single time, whether take your shots early or just swing around the outside where it is less protected. Little nuance there. Pretty easy to get the kill is all I'm saying.
Javier feeling the pressure right now, but you can see there's a giant strike squad off to the left that's not going to be able to defend C2. Is anybody from the side of HYD going to be able to defend C2? They call in the urgent redeployment because they're starting to feel the pressure right now. There is only 4 boots on the ground actually capturing C2 right now. Somehow they're making it work, but the tug of war comes into play. There's a couple members from the side of HYD jumping on the C1, but they're going to be taken out very, very early on, as there's 2 vehicles that are interested in going ahead and defending that possession from the side of our RQ.
Urgent redeployment, the only thing saving them here for a moment of just stalling out this C2 capture.
Javier.
I mean, this is just
Javier.
frenzy.
Javier.
A frenzy of kills. It was all Javier and all Krauser, and everybody from HYD is dying, all on respawn with urgent redeployment down, and they all were spamming out. I think more than half the team is on respawn timers right now. That's gotta be GG. There's no way these defenders can get to the point fast enough. They've got to run so dang fast to get here, and when they arrive, Javier will be there to meet them. See you later. A crazy, dominant performance. maybe the fastest win we've had in this entire competition. Krauser, RRQ are going to get the win here unless we have a miracle from HYD, and the miracle has to come right now in the form
C1?
of a retake on C1. They're still battling.
Falling apart potentially here for RRQ. If that tank destroyer goes down, I'd be a little bit worried. Javier has to be a little bit careful, but it looks like they've regained C1 in a dominant performance. But as I started to say that, C2 is contested for quite a quick second. But RRQ, look at this, they're hype. I can actually hear some of the people in the arena screaming for that win right there. And yeah, that had to be the fastest win we have seen so far. They got the early advantage when they took Sector A, when they took out the tank on Sector B, and after that, it was a clean slate, man. They weren't even slowed down.
Ooh, back to the drawing board. Crack's a tough map. It's a map that punishes you if you make a couple mistakes. And the biggest mistake, unfortunately, was that Lance got cut down early in his tank. Once the defense lost their one vehicle, immediately, what did the attack do? The attack calls in their second vehicle. They have the huge vehicle advantage, and because of that, no other vehicle would land and hit the ground for the defense. You lose your one, you lose them all. That's how little room for margin there is on Cracked, something we've been talking about all day today, in this match already and the match before where we saw Cracked. So I asked you the hard-hitting question. We both said 2-0. As we take a look at the stats, who are the biggest standout performances? This is the easy part. I'll ask you the hard part later.
I mean, definitely Javier in the vehicle of the tank destroyer. I mean, that being said, even though it looked like he was being pretty dominant, did not necessarily pick up the most kills for the side of RRQ. Gotta give a big shout out to our score leader, stumping the commander Krauser himself, Mozera, on the back foot of 60 revives. That's nasty on the attack. That's what's keeping them alive. That's what's keeping them so healthy in the ticket category. Who is the biggest fragger for this team? Arixa. I think it's going to be on the gun as well. So even though the vehicles were a big part of the win here for RRQ, some of the gunnies finding incredible value. Ooh, before we jump away from this, 2KA, I called him out. I said, listen, the bow looked like it was very, very good. He actually had the most kills on the server with 29 right there. Great stuff. Yeah,
listen, as much as it was the most dominant performance we've seen and the fastest win we've seen on the attacking side, I will give some credit to HYD. They put up a bit of a fight. Like, they still were able to strike back some. They had some nice retakes. They had a couple decent stat lines individually, but could not piece together as a team. It started here, though, on the A sector. The best play, and really what gave the attackers such a big advantage, was that they swung low side. They went street side because they knew the playbook of HYD. Caught them by surprise, took A sector immediately. So when we got to B, they had all the momentum. What do? Immediately take B1, and this is where things got weird because the defense were kind of trapped between the two sectors trying to figure out what to do. I think the play call was we retake B1 when they leave, and that's exactly what happens.
I personally think that everything that HYD did in terms of their playbook was played out perfectly. I think what the problem is, right, the game plan was there. I think they over-invested in everything they did. Let's go back to Sector A. Do you remember when they were trying to protect the flank to the left side and they had multiple squads over there? They had way too many members over there. They had nobody on the point ready to defend it. Remember when they kept playing the tug-of-war game on Sector B? They had 3 separate respawn beacons, 3 separate squads trying to play for that tug-of-war towards B1. Guys, you gotta have somebody on B2. Usually you only really need a couple members, a couple of boots on the ground to go ahead and play that tug-of-war game because there's nobody gonna be there for the side of the attack. And then towards C2 at this point, it doesn't even really matter what you're employing in terms of the game plan because you are just so far down in terms of
you know, Cracked is one of the maps too where it's kind of a thing where if you've got the vehicle advantage like the attackers do, it's less that the defense needs to figure out a way to win, and it's more that the attackers don't need to scam and lose the game, right? And it can go either way. It can go vice versa on Cracked, but it doesn't often go vice versa.
Yeah.
The main reason for that is because the attackers, if they are losing in vehicles, they can call their vehicle in way back, all the way back to the original spawn. And it's far enough away that sometimes you can get away with it. There's a couple of pieces of cover that can't be flanked. For the defense, I said this before, and it's, I think, a really important topic, is that when you're calling in your vehicles and you don't have the vehicle advantage and your vehicles are getting shot out of the air, the safest spot for you isn't really very safe at all. It's behind the tallest building.
Yeah.
But if you don't have people covering the flanks, a bunch of engineers or a bunch of Virans or something, those tank destroyers or those vehicles that have the advantage are going to come swinging up and be able to shoot that thing out of the air, whether it's on the ground and about to land or literally off respawn in the air. Crazy destruction and great timing from RRQ to keep their advantage. Again, I think it's whoever gets the advantage early, it's about not losing rather than the other team trying to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did see HYD actually try to play their engineers over towards that hill that RRQ were kind of playing with that tank that's destroying all those vehicles,
Yeah,
right?
Mausa,
They tried to play for it. Just didn't happen, man. RRQ were actually there to answer. They were ready for it as well. So as much as we can kind of criticize what HYD was doing in terms of overinvestments here, overinvestments there, RRQ were actually just responding to everything that HYD did very, very well. Obviously, it was a stomp. They must have been doing something right.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me bring it back up. The hard-hitting question.
Oh, okay,
We
yeah.
both said it was a 2-0.
Right?
Do you think that RRQ holds them on Sector A? That's the question I got for you. While you think on it, let's talk about the team that may be able to do it. The squad, the best squad, Marv, Wu-Tang, Ripstra, and Arixa are the top 4 players as a squad, and for good reason. Take a look at that stat line. We see solid assists, solid fragging across the board. These guys were all damage all day.
Incredible stuff from the side of these guys. Should I answer your question now or later?
You can answer it now. We're about to see the MVP of RRQ, so that's going to be the player to beat, which I think we know who it is. So
Absolutely. But listen, I think they're not going to hold them on Sector A,
Ooh.
but I can almost guarantee you when they do capture Sector A, I think they'll go into Sector B with like less than 120 tickets. I think the vehicles will start to flow in for the side of the attack, and they'll just overwhelm the defense, but then they'll probably lose on Sector B.
So you think that HYD will get Sector A, but they'll get it when they have about, like, what, 70 lives remaining?
Yeah.
Okay. Heard. Yes, Chef. David's been cooking on his predictions. We'll see if he cooked on this one. Chat, let me know what you think. It's going to be an A hold, or do you think we'll go to Game 3, or even just a later hold and a later win for RRQ in this game alone? Again, taking a look at top squad, now MVP. Give it to Mausa. I agree. I think MVP doesn't always go to the player at the top of the leaderboard because, again, this is a role-playing game. This is a team effort. And Mausa was a huge difference maker for this roster in that tank from the backline on the ridge, putting down a ton of damage and putting up a ton of assists on the actual vehicles that were flying out of the sky, and still 22 assists in general, just shelling these points. So great job from Mausa.
Yeah, absolutely. Was this who you were expecting to be the MVP?
No, usually it kind of depends. Like sometimes when we're talking, they'll pull MVPs or, the other talent from the Chinese broadcast will also probably have the same idea of us of like this person made huge impact plays that doesn't appear on the leaderboard, and that's how the MVPs are chosen. I just assumed it would be our commander would be at the top of the leaderboard and therefore our MVP. But I agree with this one. I like the Mausa pull. I think it was a huge impact player for the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Hitting those tank shots on all of those vehicles kind of falling from the sky. All right. So what do HYD need to do here to go ahead and stump RRQ on the attack?
That's the question that you have for me?
Yeah, I mean, can they do anything? Because it's 2-0.
Listen, I actually don't think HYD is a bad team. Again, we talked about some of the individual slaying power that they have. You brought up, 2KA. I think has to kind of go crazy in this map, like have pop-off hero moment 1v4s. And I think it's going to require somebody like a 2KA to play the route, clear up the backside of, let's just say it's Sector A, for instance. Clear up the backside of Sector A so that the whole frontal of force all goes together as one, pushing a point where they outnumber their opponents.
Yeah.
So basically, 2KA needs to go 1v4, and the rest of the team needs to go at least 1-1 or close to it.
Yeah.
And they technically win that map where a body's on point. I know it sounds simple, but I think HYD, based on the way we just saw what happened in Cracked, I think they have to have a hero.
So the thing that I need to see happen, I feel like it worked for RRQ here, worked in an earlier game today on Cracked as well. I feel like just the running down mid strat towards A is kind of it. That's been working. Just smoke like 3-4 times with the stinger, and then you just run in.
For A?
Yeah, for A.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, one thing that's been working on Cracked every single time we've seen it successful on the attack is a full send,
Yeah.
send the house, all gas, no brake,
Yeah.
close eyes. I mean, just send it. So I like the idea. And, I think that's replay. I was about to say, oh my gosh, we're in game already. No, I like the idea. I think a full send is nice.
I want to see HYD again. I was kind of critical on the idea that I felt like they over-invested in terms of like where they're putting all of their pawns. All right, sometimes you only need one squad responsible for something, and to me, it felt like they assigned those tasks to like 2 or 3 different squads. You could be finding value elsewhere. So pay attention to the attack. If they have some of these attacks where you see like 10 plus boots on the ground doing the same exact thing, I think they're going to lose pretty fast. I don't want to see that.
I'm going to agree with you, but also a slight disagree.
Okay.
I agree. I actually think on the attacking side, it may work better.
If they just run up mid, I think it'll work. But if they do like flank with like 10 plus, I don't think it'll work.
Yeah, I think the defensive side, I totally agree with you. I think they overinvested in a lot of plays.
Yeah.
On the attacking side, you almost need to invest that heavily to make something actually work. But anyways, let's take a look at it. Look, alt jersey buff. That's all I'll say. RRQ looked good yesterday, but this RRQ looks great. I'm loving these purple jerseys. I know, they shouted it out in the interview, our interview with, not our commander, but with Laraf. Laraf is saying, they've got their org owner here. They've got a bunch of support here in person. And so I'm sure they were thinking, let's rep everything that we can for our org with a couple different jersey options to help us win in style.
And we were talking about whether or not the passion would be there for a team like RRQ. Taking a look at the huddle right there, the comms were kind of flowing in, look like words of encouragement. To me, it looks like indeed the passion is there. Vivid, why are you kind of questioning the passion? Because yesterday they were so invested in the matchup against TXT. They looked good, but there was a little bit of a rivalry kind of going on there. So when you reset, when you go against a different team, can you bring the same energy? So far, it looks like they can. RRQ are on the verge of going 2-0 and continuing the trend throughout the day. They want to remain in the upper bracket. They want to go to the upper bracket finals. As it currently stands, HYD will be the only thing in their way. Can they hold them back on a map like Cracked? We'll find out as we jump into the game in just a little bit over a minute.
UKA gonna have to go buku bonkers on the map.
50 plus on Sector A.
Plus. 50 ball Jamal, we need it right now on the first sector. Would love to see, wonder if we'll see some more snipers swinging back the other direction. Had a couple snipes actually, one from each side at least. It could be fun. Yeah, I think if I'm HYD, I totally agree. I think I send the house. We just gotta run it down mid, man.
Just go.
Throw the smokes and send.
Just go.
Throw the smokes and send it. And of course, we'll say the same things we always do with Cracked. They've got to have the vehicle advantage. I mean, we should have a vehicle advantage counter with the amount of times I've said that. But it is probably the most important part of Warfare, especially in esports. That advantage is so, so crucial. The power play. Another sports reference for you. Huge, huge boon. What do you think about RCCK maybe? There's a lot of comms flying from that commander.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and pay attention to that then. Pay attention to the cams, kind of see what's happening in terms of what conversations are being had. We are indeed kind of jumping into this. As a quick reminder, HYD is going to be on the attack. They are currently down 0-1 to the RRQ Titans, who are returning to Cracked. They're going to be on the defense right now. Sector A will tell a lot of the story for how the remainder of this map is going to go. Who's going to get the early momentum? We're going to have to wait, find out.
Full tilt, full sin does not happen. We are far and few between. Where are our attackers? My goodness, Elegant was deep in their spawn. Here's Lance. He was our tank operator in the last rep on the defensive side. Now on the attack, HYD getting stuffed at the line.
Javier now, of course, has been one of the members of RRQ that seems very, very comfortable in those vehicles, but now he's going to be on the medic role, trying to get active on the SMGs, and we've actually seen a couple of players throughout the day find themselves start to get very, very active in a similar situation. That being said, We've been a part of this match, this round, for about a minute, and 12 tickets have already been dwindled. HYD have to be careful here. Great shot onto Elegant right there. The bows, man, they're so cool. Very, very precise. You need to be accurate with those things. You need to be able to aim. I don't use one.
Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that, huh?
Nope.
Luna Crutch player. Anyways, RCCK maybe trying to command the squad to move as a unit, play together. But Arixa being a bit of a thorn in the side, actually shooting thorns, man. Shooting those arrows down the range, so if anybody peeks out of the smoke, they're going to get crushed. Really aggressive defense here, honestly. RRQ, here's Popey going big for one. Pretty weak here, though. Oh, almost gets a two, but defense getting much more aggressive, playing for these 1v multiples on this hilltop, knowing that if they give up this hilltop above A, they could very well lose the point. Solid job from HYD to continue to get those revives so they can actually push as a unit.
Yeah.
We're low in numbers. This is looking like a cap mace happen here shortly, and D's going to have to jump the point.
Yeah, this is actually a very good opportunity for the side of HYD. They did chop down a couple of the members of RRQ, so they're going to be on the respawn timers. And look at this simultaneously from the flank, from up on the hill. They're starting to flood in towards the sector, so they've kind of got a two-phase pronged attack as it currently stands. Can RRQ go ahead and defend this? The smokes are being the MVPs of this attack because they're allowing the revives to go ahead and continuously flow in. The rest of HYD needs to go ahead and join the fray, though. Some of the members of HYD are jumping onto the point, and some of them are still off in the distance. I think that's going to be the difference maker. It's kind of allowed RRQ to jump back on the point, but as it currently stands, looks like it's still back and forth. The revives are probably playing a big part of this.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I was just talking about. I feel like they needed to full send that play. As the attackers, they full send there, they at least get some percentages onto the point. It forces the D to jump point, which means they can't hold the power positions, and then you can kind of regain.
Oh my gosh.
Lance.
Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Oh, yo. Lance is snapping.
Oh.
Lance is snapping. Oh, and he gets, oh no, he doesn't get that one up. I thought he also got that player up. They almost bit big there.
Yeah, big couple of kills, though. Those are huge wins. HYD need to do something on the back foot of plays like those. Let's see if they can do just that. I'm taking a look at the kill feed in the top right. It was actually all red for a moment right there, but Somplex trying to make something happen out of that. Shooting some arrows into the smokes. That's not going to work out. And look at this. HYD proving me wrong. I thought they were going to dwindle all the way down to sub 100 tickets, require the vehicles, but the push comes in, man. They're looking pretty strong to take Sector A.
Yeah, great job. They did a good job of battling through a couple nice plays indoors, and then just swarming the point.
Beacon.
I feel like defense was just a hair too spread out. Once they saw bodies starting to stack and play for capture point, they needed to answer back. And I'm wondering if it was a respawn issue. This A sector is quite far from the defensive spawn, so that's what it feels like. Defense is going to go ahead and burn an urgent redeployment here to make sure they're set up, I guess, for B, or maybe try to swarm and retake this. Feels like a little bit late. I mean, they're already at over 75% cap on A. There's no way these players get here in time to stall this thing out in a significant way. So maybe a bit of an overcommit there, but at the very least, you're going to get all your players back on. Because this transition to B, I mean, it's 40 seconds before you can actually do anything, but you can let the attack kind of set up for new and set up for this attack. And if everybody's on respawn, they might catch you unaware. Here's the tanks, though. Both teams going to get one. This is the same tank operator, Talavanya, here now for the defending side, RRQ. Saw some decent value in the tank. And, well, aptly named Tank Brit. Did I see that correctly? I think so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how RRQ played their tank, Talavanya. Remember, playing in a similar road is where RRQ was able to take out the tank on the opposing side of HYD when they were on the approach. How are HYD going to attack the B sector? Obviously, B1 is usually a little bit of a gimme, but RRQ will obviously look to play the tug-of-war game later on. Just trying to get active and trying to go ahead and delay, take some of these tickets away for the side of HYD.
Yo.
A very clean shot right there.
Yo.
A very clean follow-up for the side of Arixa. 14 kills to his name as it currently stands, and he's looking to continue. Can't find any more members amongst all the smoke, amongst all the chaos. Actually, he does off in the distance towards the B1 point. starts to take some shots in the back, and he's forced to go ahead and duck and cover.
Tank BRK, by the way. Sorry about that. HYDRANGEA on 14 kills, 14 and 6. Looking to just disrupt the back line. HYDRANGEA doing a pretty solid job here. They're going to take B1. I mean, HYDRANGEA has been and will continue to be the problem. Unfortunately, needed to hit a couple of those shots, and they get shot in the back. And it already tanked the Tempest ult, so won't be able to get the self-revive off. Goes down. Here are the attackers, though. They're going to set up a nice flank push. That is a full squad of 4 running around the far left side to be able to play for the backside of B2 and cut off the reinforcements of the defense. In the meantime, HYDRANGEA playing very safe, way off on what would be the left side if you're facing B1 of the B2 capture zone. Playing in the street, trying to hold a choke point and potential rotation that the attackers could make over to B2.
Trying to continue the highlight reel is going to be HYDRANGEA. This time is only able to go ahead and pick up 1 as opposed to like the 5 he found last time. And now HYDRANGEA, as some of the attackers start to get a little bit closer to B2, those sight lines will be opened up, cleared up a little bit better for the tank, and that's when he will start to look to get a little bit more active. But like you mentioned, playing very, very passive. We saw what happened when the defensive side loses the tank early on. They cannot go head-to-head with the tank on the opposing side, and you're pretty much suffocated in terms of the vehicles being able to be called in. So you got to go ahead and keep this tank alive. And for the side of RRQ, they obviously are going to know that. But for the side of HYD, what they are looking to do is find a very big flank onto the side of B2. Krauser with a sneaky little respawn beacon. Maybe spawns a little bit earlier. How did Javier spawn into that beacon?
Snuck in there, man.
Look at him.
Do they know he's here?
No, they don't. They thought they destroyed the beacon, but he like snuck in at the last second.
Yeah, they're looking like they're keeping eyes this direction, though. They feel like there's going to be some more players this direction, but Javier just sneaky. A lot of action happening around B2, though, and I think the biggest thing you mentioned is that both teams still have their tank. We're going to stick with Javier and see if he can make a play. He's taking a sweet time. Doesn't want to give up position. And, oh, they found him. And they're dead.
Javier's got a shotgun, though. You got to imagine that he's in an advantageous position. But the util comes out, puts him down to about 50 HP. Let's see, when the two-pronged attack comes in, it's going to be Widow jumping off the building with Shoddy in hand. A little bit of a trick shot there. And whilst all the chaos is going on, RRQ are actually looking to go ahead and take back B1. I feel like me and Goj have been a little bit distracted watch some of the individual plays because we are already down to 140 tickets. What happened?
40 lives sent. They tried to take B1 and immediately send B2. They were kind of stuffed to the line and backed off of B2. But in the meantime, like you said, B1, they had a full squad strike team taking B1 on the back side. It forces the attackers to retreat, which is a nice play when you felt like you were outnumbered towards B1. You were starting to lose some of your reinforcements. Forces the attackers to back off, retake B1, and then readdress the fight from a different angle. I actually quite like HYD's position right now. They have these 2 sections of attacking. They have the one on the far right side, you know, branching off of B1, and then you have this, I wouldn't even call them a strike team. It's like almost half your force playing this high side, playing the rooftops over there on the left side of B2. But yet again, a nice respawn beacon and a big play from this squad that mostly is thwarted. Down to a 1v1 to finish off the fight, and he spins over the top, tries to trick shot him. Popey, the man, the myth, the legend, will pick up at least 1 revive and get the players back into the mix and start capping B1. I liked the attacker's position, but now they are fully split in half. With this respawn beacon outside of B1, you have half your force out on the right and half your force way out on the left, causing, I think, maybe you need much more of a force in one position. I think you stick like a strike team and then the rest of your force on the right, which maybe is what they're trying to do right now as they try to retake B1. But I don't know. I don't hate the idea. It's just not being executed maybe perfectly.
Ozera is actually on for like a 1v4 right now. The jump comes in.
Jeez.
How? The Shoddy, man, the introduction of this secondary Shoddy has been found to be so valuable for a lot of the plays throughout the couple of days we've seen the competition here in Wuhan, China. And a player just finding so much value like was there. It's great to see. They've actually successfully held on to B2, right? No attack kind of coming in for the side of HYD. All the chaos is going on B1. And they have actually almost captured B1 in its entirety as well. Goes, remember, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I called for HYD to stop sending like 3 squads towards the B1 point to play that tug of war. How many squads are causing all this chaos for RRQ on this B1 point? It's just one, man.
Yeah.
You don't need too many squads to do the same exact thing sometimes.
Well, it was kind of what I was talking about. I feel like you just need a full send one thing, and they had their force completely split in half. Now they've got a position where it's this one squad, HYD squad, out here, this movement on the far left side. Everybody else is together. I like this a lot better. It feels a little bit more cohesive. They just need to clean up the rest of the players on B1, get control of it. And I would even argue, I mean, it's a little more risky. Let's bring our takedown into the mix to hold B1 so we can actually make a coordinated attack. But RRQ, a hero, almost goes insane on B1. But even just those moments are showing what RRQ has in their bag. Their bag is deep. They've got some heroes that can win 1v multiples. And it's really one of the biggest difference makers between these two rosters right now.
And sometimes, man, I'm not going to lie, I kind of count out those engineer players instantly. I'm like, oh, this engineer player is probably not feeling like too confident, not usually going to be the gunner of the squads that's going to be on those type of roles, but proving me wrong right there. It's also to see hold up off in the distance, the Lav being destroyed. That could be a big swing of things.
Yeah, the attackers are able to yield more vehicles right now than the defense, but being able to at least take down one of the now 4 that the attackers have and almost take down the tank as well, it looks like, would have been a huge value add for RRQ, Krauser, and the team. But now that you have an advantage, you have to push the advantage. RCCK maybe's got to be telling his team, get that tank healed up and get that tank on B1 so we can actually make a move at B2 and not just take these weird fights outside that are fairly inconsequential.
We have had this weird 4v4 here between these two squads for so long. Let's take a look to see if HYD can go ahead and apply the pressure. No, the building goes ahead and tanks the final rocket right there.
Oh, no.
The lob is going to land. The tank is going to land. Oh, that is bad news bears for the side of HYD. Remember, when the attack of RRQ was so good, it's because they were able to go ahead and destroy all those vehicles. But HYD, they didn't even get one of them. And on the back foot of that, RRQ is starting to feel a little bit of the pressure. They want to call on the urgent redeployment as well. But I'm not even sure why. If you take a look towards B1, I mean, they can kind of play that tug-of-war game. And B2 is still in complete control for them. And V9 is hitting both shots from 100 meters out.
Man, what a crucial moment. You needed that last Aluru rocket to connect. I'm not sure if it got shot out of the air or if it like accidentally clipped the building or something. Almost looked like a slight mistake, but still, 3-3 in vehicles is a huge win for the defending side. Lance is gonna have to go big. Lance again was the tank operator in the last match on the defense. Now tank on the attack. As expected, one of our tanks, now that we have 3 vehicles, one of them is going to go sit near and around B1, while the other tank shells from a distance. Same strategy that the attackers last map implemented RRQ. It's just not nearly as effective because you allowed the defense to pick up 3 vehicles.
Widow trying to do a little bit of a flank onto the vehicle of RRQ. That would be great. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a straight up strategic respawn beacon that the entire team of RRQ can actually spawn into. They actually want to go ahead and put a lot of pressure onto the point of B1. But again, it's just going to be one singular squad that's going to be landing right now. And look at this, RRQ are trying to implement a similar strategy as they did on the attack. But on this time, during the defense, they do go ahead and take out one of the vehicles. And we're still kind of focusing on Widow, who's trying to go ahead and make something happen. Currently, Javier in the lab is down to 50% HP, but Widow is snuffed out. He's taken out, and now RRQ are still pressing the attack on this B1 point.
Yeah, I think that team strategic respawn beacon didn't really find any value. I'm not
sure if
anybody respawned on it.
He might have meant to call on a smoke or something else.
No, I didn't hate the play if maybe people died, but it didn't look like people died in time to be able to utilize it. We still got a solo causing a disruption on B1, so what do? HYD send like 9 people for him, because that's apparently what they need. Good grief.
2-piece.
Nice find there, Malza, and continued disruption here. This is really well done from the RRQ team to just make HYD think twice about B1. HYD have not put up a real push to B2 this entire sector, which is exactly what RRQ is asking for. Browser is telling his team, keep being a thorn on their side, keep making them think about B1, keep making them respond to you, and keep winning 1, 2, 3, 4, everyone falling at the hands of RRQ. And this time, yes, it was Popey up in the lead, but a lot of the rest of the team follows. B1 now in deep trouble because of the artillery barrage over the top, and a great play from these two squads to fully invest their time and effort to retake B1 and make HYD fear that they will lose right here, right now on the B sector.
Yeah, super, super scary, but take a look at this, a huge investment. HYD seemingly happy with conceding the control over the B1, but they're trying to go ahead and spawn on the rooftops over here. Maybe they have set their eyes over towards this vehicle, but taking a look off into the distance, Mauza is doing Mauza things, continuously destroying these vehicles before they touch down. HYD, we got to go ahead and turn our eyes over to this play towards the rooftops. Why are they over here? What is the game plan? What are we going to do now that we have this position? I feel like every single time we take a look at this rooftop, we've usually only had one squad over here. They haven't found any value, so why is the call to go ahead and send another squad over here? They're not even seemingly pressing the LAV either.
No, I agree. I think it's an overinvestment on that rooftop. It's a decent power position, but you have to do something with it. They've been sitting up there for nearly, 80 lives at this point, and really have just been taking these weird 4v4s on the off angle. Now, the answer is, if you stop getting shot in the back over here, you actually make your way across the street in a much shorter duration flank or cross to the B2 sector. The problem is they just haven't done that yet, or at least we haven't seen them do that because we've been focused over here on B1. We now have complete control over both zones in this B sector. It is looking clearly like it's going to be an RRQ victory, and this might be one of the nails that gets added to the coffin of HYD. Both vehicles go down. Both vehicles will not land or be able to be used. Anytime there is a chance HYD can grab an advantage, it gets swept out from underneath them, and they fall flat on their back and say, now what?
It's kind of cool. HYD is trying to call on one of those little transport vehicles in front of the actual vehicles that they're calling in, like the tanks and the tank destroyers, to try to eat some of the artillery barrages from the side of RRQ. It's just not working. Like, RRQ is aiming properly, finding the angles that are necessary to go ahead and take them out. So they're staying up on top of that. We've seen Popey kind of pop off. We've seen the whole team of RRQ pop up because
Popey's
remember,
the man.
me and Goj were talking about how they kept going to that rooftop. They sent 2 squads over there, which they conceded B1. Now they have 50 tickets to go ahead and basically just full reset on the sector of B and try to reclaim B1 and B2 with just 50 lives remaining.
We don't get to do this often. Look at Popey. I mean, this is an individual making a difference. He's double positive. He is 39 and 18, make it 40 and 18. That man is worth 2 of a normal player on the side of HYD. Individual plays like that make a huge difference, especially when you have several players doing a lot of the same. Those KDAs, we don't see them in the leaderboard at the end of the game, but when you are able to see them in game, it really shows you the difference that these players are making. I mean, Arix is able to hold down a full choke point of these players getting out of spawn. Speaking of getting out of spawn, they can't buy a vehicle at this point. RRQ have complete control. This has got to be GG's.
Arix is actually keeping up with Popey as well. Popey has 40, Arix has 38. So you talked about the individual prowess. Every single time this guy takes damage, you think he's going to lose a fight. He makes something happen. You think about it for a second. You're like, oh my gosh, is he going to make it happen? He does eventually go down because I jinxed him. It's not going to be his fault. But RRQ are still in full control of the B sector. You posed the difficult question, are they going to hold them on A? I said no. I thought they were going to have a little bit of a stronger hold, but it looks like the stronghold, the strong defense, was actually going to be set up towards the B sector.
I'm so glad we're showing the map view. It just really tells the story of what we've been echoing over and over and over again. the red team, the attackers, they can't even get out of spawn at this point. RRQ were not content to sit back and hold B2 and hope that it was enough. They have fully retaken B1, and then they have pushed them back and back and back. The attackers can't get out of spawn, and they are desperately relying on these revives. They're desperately relying on their medics and the smokes to hopefully get them onto the B1 point. Insane.
Talking about getting onto the B1 point, finally HYD, a full reset kind of comes in. They get a couple of members of their team onto that point, but Popey is going to be in the mix right now. You can see him kind of jumping around in the smokes. He is going to go ahead and fall, but a giant barrage of explosives coming in from all of the vehicles from the side of RRQ are trying to go ahead and stop the efforts of HYD. You can also imagine that this artillery barrage that's being called in right now from the side of RRQ is also going to be landing on this B1 point. Typically, these investments are what we usually see be invested in towards B2, but RRQ are so far ahead of the game right now that they're able to go ahead and fight for B1. They do eventually go ahead and lose it, but they do gain a lot of position around the map. And as we saw off in the distance, Javier was actually able to go ahead and take out another one of those vehicles. He actually jumps out of the vehicle. He's interested in jumping into the Allure rocket. They actually take out the assault vehicle from the side of HYD as well.
Crazy job here, RRQ. Again, as expected to some degree, HYD is going to have to start lining up one of the last couple pushes that they can make. But the problem is, anytime they're talking about what they do next, they have to reassess because Popey's just going insane. Again, a retake, and again, domination on B1. And you blink and you missed it. We lose 20 lives because we didn't have anybody to pick us up. There's too many players.
Bottom right, by the way, Krauser, over the last couple minutes, he was smiling, he was laughing. They're cracking jokes over there on the side of RRQ, man. They're feeling really, really good about this matchup. I mean, obviously, no reason not to. And they are so far ahead that they've even got a guided missile to go out and toy with if they do so, please. The rain of vehicles does come in, and oh my gosh, it's a Christmas miracle. A vehicle for the side of HYD has touched the ground.
With 16 lives left and a lot of bodies on the ground right now, I don't know if that miracle is going to be enough to make a huge difference, but we'll take what we can get. Enough score to call in 2 guided missiles with another successful objective. Let's see what comes of the rest of the score and whatever vehicle advantage we have finally found with HYD. Here is one of the pushes happening. Immediately thwarted by 2 players. I mean, what is like, these guys are getting into the mix back there. Arixa is causing so much chaos. Look how far that Tim stole, by the way, brought him back. That was nuts. Man.
I want to see RRQ just start to have some fun with these guided missiles. Now they have 2 of them available. Of course, they don't be overconfident. You don't want to underestimate your opponent and go ahead and waste a bunch of score. But with the push coming into B1, why not call it in now? Can we go ahead and predict a guided missile? We can indeed. Krauser, the commander, is looking to take over this match. He wants to go ahead and win the thing now. HYD, they're going to be forced over the point. I don't know if this is going to find a lot of value in terms of the kills because HYD should be fully aware of the fact of where this is going to land. 3 seconds separate them. They're actually able to go ahead and secure beat number 1. Now, they're going to go ahead and look to avoid the guided missile, which they do successfully, as do all of the vehicles. They need to go ahead and make a giant push towards B2 right now. Urgent deployment called in for Krauser. He's starting to feel the pressure as well, but Lance finally gets into the mix. He's been in the back lines all day, takes it to the front lines, and instantly is met by the side of RRQ.
Lance goes huge, and Talavania answers. Mauza there as well. A huge investment from HYD. It was the right play. It was just too little too late. The guided missile lands, and they say, what do? We full send as a unit. This is what I've been asking for. They sent the house, and it almost worked. Here's the problem. Javier was there for backup. Talavania is still there, and they win the trade, they win the round, they win the sector, and they win the match. RRQ, not infallible, but pretty dang good.
All smiles down the line here for RRQ. Fist bumps are coming out. Like I mentioned, when you take a look at a team and they're winning that dominantly and they start laughing, they start smiling about halfway through, you start to feel a little bit worried for the opposition. I mean, I guess you could say the worries came in a little bit earlier than that. The way the first round of this one went, when RRQ were on the attack, it looked like they were the better team, and they went ahead and solidified that statement as well with their performance on the defense. They didn't hold them at A, but I feel like a hold on B on a map like Cracked, that's obviously going to be good enough.
Respect given, and again, this is not the end of HYD. HYD will move to the lower bracket. They'll still fight for their life in this tournament. Moments of greatness, certainly a team that could make some waves and maybe grab some upsets down in the lower bracket, but they're not going to beat RRQ, not today. RRQ is too polished. They played too well. They have too many heroes. This is a strong roster here to continue to make a statement. They'll be joining LT in the upper bracket finals, and they're going to give us one more bow and a wave for what they were able to accomplish today. That is 4 matches that went 2-0. 4 matches in near clean sweeps. Crazy.
It's what I expected coming into the day, though. For some reason, that's just how our bracket was kind of drawn up. I was taking a look at some of the head-to-heads, and yeah, day number 1, we had a lot of those games go a lot closer. But because of who won and who lost in the matchups that we got today, it was just 2-0s across the board. Let's take a look at the leaderboard here. RRQ, no surprise that we see Poopy up towards the top, 52 kills. But Arixa also joins him up there, 50-plus in 55. I'm actually going to be curious. I'm going to search for 2KA on the other side of things over here. 30. I see a 36, 42. I mean, man, there are some actual fraggers on the side of HYD. I'm actually very, very surprised.
I'm going to be honest. I was asking for a hero of 2KA or any of the individuals from HYD in order to get that win. And instead, RRQ delivered what I was asking for. Poppy and Arixa almost doubled up on anybody else's kills on their team across the entire team.
Oh, they literally did.
Crazy. I mean, they were going insane as a duo up on the front lines, picking up. Again, their KDA was well over 2 in a game like this. That is pretty rare and, of course, extremely impressive. So there's many reasons why RRQ was a better team in that instance in that matchup, but those two guys really dominated the defensive side for this roster.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, whenever we do see a Warfare match just be so one-sided, it's very, very easy for us up here to just be like, it was all about the vehicles. I feel like sometimes over the course of this match for us, it actually felt like it was the individual plays from some of the players of RRQ getting into the mix, right? That one squad of RRQ that kept pestering B1 and recapturing it like by themselves. That is an incredible feat. Obviously, the vehicles did come into play when they pretty much deny every single one of the ones that HYD was calling in over the course of that, but RRQ just did such a good job across the board.
Agreed, and taking a look at some of the highlights, you can see what happened. I mean, again, I actually thought HYD did a pretty good job of capturing A fairly quickly.
They did.
I like the play style. I like the way they pushed onto B1 immediately, and they were able to take B1 almost instantly. However, it was a really strong play from RFQ, and again, I think a small mistake from HYD with the way they played the transition between B1 and B2. It's a tricky thing to get right, and I think this might have been the first mistake. HYD invested a ton of time, a ton of effort, and a ton of bodies for that high ground building, the broken on the far left side, to maintain an area of what is some control of the map. It gives you a little bit of control of the street view. That's kinda it. I wanted to see those players push out faster. I wanted to see those players make a better play for B2. When they didn't, things got a little bit upside down, because then we started shooting vehicles out of the sky, and then we started retaking B1, and then we started seeing RRQ come online, of course, on the back of the 2 players we already highlighted.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything they did was pretty much fine outside of letting B1 go. I mean, you can't let the defense have full control over B1 so much so that they can just literally like spawn on it, right? They can click that as their respawn point, because, I mean, when you only have 50 tickets left, you're gonna have to fight for it. And then obviously, you know, they did decide to go ahead and make one final push. They had nothing left. And you kind of talked about, hey, listen, why not do this earlier when you have some tickets to work with, when it's not going to be a full send from the side of RRQ as well. Like, it looked pretty good when they did all in it, but as you can see right there, the reactions after the loss. It didn't look like they were all too frustrated. Let's go ahead and take a look at the best squad for the side of our RQ.
Yeah, this is to be expected. I mean, Marv Wu-Tang did a great job as well. Solid score lines, picked up a ton of assists for the squad. Riptra picked up 34 assists as well, 14 kills. 53 rescues is a nice stat line as well. But then Arixa, I mean, Bowmaster McGee going insane. 55 kills, 7 assists, a couple rescues as well. Really strong performance from Arixa, and again, was doubled up on anybody else's kills on the map aside from Popey.
Yeah, absolutely incredible effort there from the boots on the ground, from the team just in general. Really loved how they kind of broke that one down, played it. And I really wonder what the difference maker was there for HYD, because we did see when RRQ caught in those 2 vehicles all the way on the backside of Crack, they actually were able to land. But when HYD tried to call those vehicles in, RRQ destroyed them immediately.
Well, I think one thing to remember is that at the very beginning, when they called the vehicles in the back, RRQ, when they were attacking, already had the vehicle advantage. This time around, it was an even playing field.
Exactly.
So they didn't have the angles to come around the side of that tall building I was talking about. Now, we talk about MVPs, we talk about Popey. Makes a ton of sense to me. 52 total kills, 31 assists, and a solid scoreline to boot. Popey certainly living up to the name, doing a fantastic job with, of course, Arixa as a duo, really, with the way they were playing to just disrupt any move that HYD was trying to make to egress into the point. I think if these two guys don't pop off as much as they did, I think there's a pretty good chance we at least get to Sector C. I mean, they truly, it was one of the more dominant individual performances that did not come at the behest of a vehicle, especially helis or jets or otherwise. That's 2 dominant infantry players that changed the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to kind of see them continue on in their competition, but because they did go ahead and win their upper bracket game today, those guys, those carries, Popey and Arixa, they get the opportunity to take the day off tomorrow. They're going to be able to go ahead and rest as they do await one of their final matchups in the upcoming competition. Unfortunately, for the side of HYD, they're still in the competition, but they're kicked down to the lower bracket.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the bracket, the schedule, when you should tune in, all that stuff here in just a little while. Before we get to any of that, and we're doing picks and bans today for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really cool segment if you missed it last time because it was so dang late. We're finishing literally 6 hours earlier than yesterday, and we played the same amount of best of threes. Is that not ridiculous to say out loud? 4 stomps in a row. Wild stuff here with DFIW, but that's the way things go. We'll get our interview first. Once we're done with that, we'll do our picks and bans. We'll talk schedule, we'll talk bracket, and break it all down for you. We still have 6 out of our 8 teams still in this competition, and tomorrow we'll be losing quite a few more. So a lot of things on the line tomorrow. It's going to be very exciting stuff. And again, talk about that in a moment. Of course, though, we have to hear from RRQ. We'll see more from HYD later in the competition. RRQ likely taking a break tomorrow. I assume we'll get that interview. Yes, it is ready now. Let's head down to the stage and hear from RRQ.
Hello， 各位，欢迎来到赛后采访，我是汤。我们这次邀请到了 RQ 站的 Dioza 选手，是 Dioza 选手，各位打个招呼。
Dioza, please introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is RRQ Delza. I play for Team RRQ and I play in Leraf squad.
Dioza 选手刚刚介绍了他自己，他来自 RRQ 战队。
OK， 首先要恭喜你们进入到了胜者组的决赛当中，算是打破了自己的对手的一个记录。我想问一下此刻感受怎么样？大家分享一下。
So first of all, congratulations for winning this game, and can you please talk about your feelings right now?
Obviously, we are a ton happier right now because the last match we fight against Tuxedo is already done, and now we play against HYD. They are giving a lot of surprises before, like the last DFW. They improve a lot from the 2025 one. So yeah, they give a ton of surprises this year.
选手表示，去年他其实也在 DFIW 与对手有过一次正面的交锋。他其实非常尊敬对手队伍，他发现 HYD 这次有了很多的惊喜给到他们，也有了很多的提升。
这场比较势均力敌的一个对决，想问一下 Dioza， 去年他其实是使用了复合弓，那个时候还没有流行起来，而当这个赛季开始流行起来的时候，他又换了其他的武器，算是一个复合弓的鼻祖。想问他对于这个武器下怎么评价？
So Deza, we know that previously you were the pioneer of compound bow, right? But now when it gets popular, you stop using it. Why?
I felt like there are a lot of better players in my team right now that can use compound bow to the fullest. So in that case, I'll be just the flex one. I'll be the anything that the team needs. In case that they need compound bow back, I'll play the compound bow again.
Deza 表示，现在他的队伍里有其他队员，其实使用复合弓的技巧要比他娴熟很多。但是他也表示，他的位置是非常灵活的，他现在更倾向于一个补位的状态。当然了，如果需要他再次拿起他的复合弓，他很乐意随时效劳。
OK，其实发现吊仔在这次赛场当中用到的是 FS12，怎么评价这把武器？
Deza, you used FS12 in this game, right?
Yes.
How did you comment this weapon?
Broken, very broken because it can be used in a secondary weapon slot. So you can have like two weapons where the main one is for the long range one and the FS for the close range, like you guys saw in the match. Yeah, it's kind of broken to be honest.
Delta 选手对这个武器的评价就是，其实是非常两极分化的，非常灵活的。你既可以把它用作副武器，也可以用作这个近战的主武器，所以他觉得这把武器其实非常灵活。
OK， 下一个问题是，你们下场比赛将会遇到这个龙腾战队，想问一下，对于这场比赛Delta怎么看？有没有比分的预测？
Delta, in the next match you will face LT. So, do you have any predictions of the score?
I think it will be a hard 2-1, and I hope we won. Obviously, they are obviously the powerhouse of this, this game, and also they always bring the surprises in every single match since ACL and then the last year the FW. Even though they lost against Tuxedo, it's still they are one of the best team out there.
Delta 非常肯定 LT 的表现，他表示在去年的 DFIW 和其他赛事当中 ，LT 都有着非常强劲的表现，而且他还表示 LT 每次都会给到他们无限的惊喜，所以他的比分预测是他们会是胜者，而且比分将是2-1。
OK， 那也期待你们在胜负决赛表现。谢谢Delta，接下来把时间交还给评论席。
Thank you.
Well, folks, that was Delza, a great interview with RRQ yet again. I'm loving their interviews, man. Electric energy, really, really kind, humble, but also confident that they will get the win, even against some of the best teams in the game. But they're right, RRQ is going to the winter finals, if you will, the upper bracket finals.
Yeah.
One more chance. If you win that, go undefeated. You make it to the grand finals, skip a whole day of competition. Crazy, crazy stuff. But hey, what a great day and a weirdly fast day. Yesterday was it took forever. We had several game threes. It was nail biters. It was overtimes, double overtimes. Today, we had a bunch of good teams, but we had 4 fantastic teams. I call them giga stomps. I mean, it was 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Super, super fast, ending 6+ hours earlier than yesterday. Insane stuff. And I'm sure tomorrow we'll be back into the grind a little bit, back into the double overtimes and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Vivid, we got a lot we need to talk about. Specifically, I do want to recap the day, talk about the schedule, talk about the bracket, all that good stuff. But I ask you the age-old question. Do you have a favorite part from today?
Do I have a favorite part from the day? Let me go all the way back and think. I think it just has to be how well Ascension was kind of played, right?
Okay.
I'm going to mention one name and you're immediately going to agree with me. Sarah Jane.
Yeah, I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen. Sarah Jane went insane. Also, I got to shout out the best jet pilot in the game right now, Betterzechi, and they were unstoppable. It was one of the best jet operators I've ever seen in game. That was super cool. That's 2 different teams that had aerial support that just was the difference in them winning or not. I would also throw in this last match, man. We actually saw in 4 matches, we saw 3 different win cons that we're not necessarily used to seeing. We saw a helicopter win con, a jet win con, and then 2 boots on the ground just out-frag everybody win con. You don't see any of those options very often in game.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it can happen in a slightly imbalanced power between 2 teams, but still, I loved it today. It was cool to see something a little bit new.
Yeah, absolutely crazy stuff. Definitely saw some stuff that is new. Now, speaking about new stuff, why don't we talk about old stuff? And when I'm talking about old stuff, I'm talking about old questions.
Oh, geez.
The question that I asked you earlier on was, who do you think is going to win the whole competition after we were done with match number 6?
I
now,
told you.
We've been through all 8 matches of the day, and you were like, dude, I'll tell you after we finish the match of
No,
the day.
I told you before. I said it was going to be the winner of LT versus FX.
You did say that.
It's going to be LT, man. I feel like they've got this one in the bag. They feel like the most polished team. They feel like the most well-rounded team, and they've got their heroes that can make pop-off plays. I'm loving it, but a quick look back on the results from today. We started in the lower bracket as a reminder. It was HAN versus RBN, a stomp, frankly. And again, I don't blame them. RBN's a great team, but HAN on paper is a top 2, top 3 team in this event, and they came to play today. They knew their back was against the wall, and they stomped the competition. Unfortunately, RBN couldn't get anything going. We then moved to the AHR matchup versus TXD. Similar story. TXD is an extremely polished team with a ton of experience as almost an entirely full roster. This is almost a perfect repeat roster from last year's Vietnam competition. They won DFIW 2025 with this roster. No surprise to see a 2-0 stomp there as well. But of course, talking about LT and FX, HYD and RRQ.
Yeah, a couple of upper bracket matches. Here we can see the full picture for the rest of the competition. Down in the lower bracket, we're going to have the matchup of HAN versus HYD. And then on the other side of things, it's going to be TXD versus FX. Both of those matches are going to be played tomorrow, June 19th. You can see the times there as well. Following match number 9 and following match number 10, we also are going to have match number 11 tomorrow, which is basically going to have the winner of those 2 matches, which will, of course, go to the loser finals in match number 13.
That's right.
Like we already mentioned, a break for the 2 teams that have stayed in the upper bracket or in the upper bracket final. So we will not see LT tomorrow, and we will not see RRQ. They're going to be waiting in the wings for June 20th. So all elimination games tomorrow for us,
right.
guys. If you were excited about the Warfare games today, you were excited about all of that, you got to tune in tomorrow because there's going to be so much on the line.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's all elimination games tomorrow. Every single game tomorrow, we will lose a team from this competition.
Sheesh.
We currently have 6, and we will go down to 3. Insane stuff. Bracket looking very clean right now. I am so pumped to see these teams progress through them and where they go from here. That LT-RRQ matchup is going to be a banger. That's not tomorrow, though. That is the following day. I mean, I think all of these games are going to be solid. HYD versus HAN will be a fun one. TXD versus FX. I want to see FX come out with some fire and potentially try to take down the TXD current reigning champs of DFIW. Both of those matches will be a lot of fun. I do think that if they let it get away from them, both of our 2 rounds that we start with tomorrow could be 2-0s, though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think I'm looking at HAN. I'm looking at TXD. I actually hope both of them win because I want to see those 2 teams play each other. That's what I want to see happen.
HAN and TXD?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be
that.
a really good game.
I respect that. I'm a little too biased to agree with you, but I do respect that. I like to play. Man, I'm having so much fun with this. And I think HAN TXD would be a really good matchup. I think FX could put up a decent fight against HAN too. I don't know. We'll see. I think the top matchup will be fun, but overall, as we move through our bracket, June 19th, that is tomorrow, folks. Same time, same place, by the way. Everything's starting at the same time. These 3 matches, all elimination matches. Here they are as a recap. Starting out, same time. It's going to be a 1 p.m. start for the game start. We'll be live a little bit before that, 10, 20 minutes or so of Vivid and I yapping. HAN versus HYD to kick it off. TXD, then FX after that. And then the TBDs are just the winners of both of those matches. All elimination. Only 3 teams will remain at the end of the day. Crazy stuff.
So we've actually watched 8 head-to-heads, 8 matches now of DFIW 2026. Would you consider us more than halfway done? So we've only got
because we did 4 and 4, and we have. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. We're halfway done.
Yeah.
5 days. We're gonna be here for 3 more days ahead of us. But with this new schedule, last year was only 4. With this new schedule, we've got the grand finals is a full best of 5, and it's its own day. And this stadium is going to be packed. It's getting more and more loud each day that we go along, and I think even tomorrow it'll be more packed. But grand finals is going to be nuts, especially if TL make it there or LT make it there. I think they've got a pretty good chance of making this stadium break some decibel records, man. I mean, it is going to be insane.
Absolutely, and the fact that it's a best of 5, that's going to be the first time we're going to be seeing that as well. I'm excited to kind of see how that one's broken down. Best of 3s until we actually get there, though. But, yeah, a lot of competition still ahead, man. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. There are only, what is that? What did I say, 6 head-to-heads? Left, and we've already watched 8. That is crazy.
3, 2, 1 left, folks. It's going to be 3 matches tomorrow, 2 the next day, and then grand finals the following day. We are over halfway done, but 3 more days of competition. Now, don't go anywhere yet. We are about to jump into it. I can see it fully set up behind us. We'll be heading to the picks and bans for tomorrow's matchups. You'll be seeing, we're there. Ready to rock and roll. Let's see what they do.
So, set A or set B?
Got HAN versus HYD here. So obviously both of these teams are going to ban 1 map each. The coin kind of decides who actually map bans first.
Okay, here we go.
HAN, they're going to be banning. Let's wait till we can read it.
Aftershock.
Who's surprised?
Yeah, that's it's either Aftershock or Fault. Let's see what yeah, okay, that checks out.
Yep. And there it is. This might be the...
We have 8 teams. We have, what is this? What did we say? 8 matches. We've done 8 and we have 7. We have 15 matches in 15 matches unless maybe in a best of 5. I don't think we ever see Fault. No, I'm not even going to give it the time of day. It's not going to happen.
Those might be the bans for the rest of the competition, by the way. Like, it's literally straight up Aftershock. And Fault, both of the members from the team here will go ahead and mix the balls up to make it just that much more fair. And then whatever ball is chosen will be the map that these 2 teams will play tomorrow in the first 2 rounds. If they decide after that, they'll go to a round 3 where one of the teams will go ahead and set the map. But the first 2 rounds will be...
No way.
No, I'm not saying it.
It's Cyclone, baby.
So
we're going back to Cyclone. Woo!
Gosh!
Let's go! Another Cyclone map. Couldn't be more excited about that one.
Who's going to get what side?
HAN will attack first.
HAN will attack first. HYD will defend first. They're looking to see which way they want to go around the referee there to go ahead and get the handshake going. Cyclone once more. Have you not had enough of Cyclone yet?
Listen, I was the one excited about it. You were the one that was dismayed.
Yeah.
I got
guess
pumped.
I was projecting.
More Cyclone, baby.
We saw Cyclone, 2 times on opening day yesterday? And then
we
saw
two
Cyclone.
Full, two in best of
once
3s.
more today as well, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's 3 times already. Now we're going to see it a 4th time.
Yeah, out of 9 best of 3s, we'll see it 4 times in an 8 map pool.
If we pull Cyclone in this next matchup,
what are you gonna do?
I'm
gonna crash out?
It's gonna be feeling reminiscent of Vietnam, where we only saw Threshold.
Hot take or not, I want to see Threshold. I'm so ready for Threshold.
Yeah, I'm ready as well.
I know we were so tired of it at the end of Vietnam because we saw it so many times, but it is still one of my favorite maps. I love the way it's played, the strategies we got so used to. And now I'm starting to feel that way about Cyclone. So I'm feeling good. I want to see more Cyclone, man.
Cyclone has still netted us some of the best games of the competition.
That's
so,
true.
You know what? Fine.
Double tiebreakers, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
That's a good shot, actually.
So
it's been some of the closest games.
It'll probably continue with the trend.
That's so funny. All right, we move to the next matchup, though. As we head down to the other matchup in the lower bracket tomorrow.
We got TXD and FX.
Yep, TXD and FX. We're going to see Wormy up there making some calls in a second. What do you think? Do we think it's going to be Fault and Aftershock again on the bans? I mean, the last time, I misspoke way earlier thinking about what the bans were. Wormy actually banned Ascension. But I don't know if that was a target ban for LT like I was talking about.
Yeah.
Or if it was something that they just don't feel as comfortable on comparatively to their opposition they're playing. So let's take a look.
According to our rulebook, TXT
it's also important to kind of think about the loss that both these teams took. Like obviously FX losing on Cyclone, maybe that might play a little bit of a part into
I'd
what
love a Cyclone
they were
ban.
thinking about banning. Oh, now you're flipping.
Oh, my
the
bad. I
script
mean,
on
no,
us.
I want to see Cyclone.
Yeah, exactly. Wormy's going to be banning the maps first here. What's it going to be banning? Is it going to be
Fault, baby?
Fault? All right. Naturally.
That's funny.
All right, TXT have the opportunity to switch things up here. Are they going to ban Aftershock, or are they going to switch it up? He's actually, wait a minute.
Cyclone.
Sneaking. He banned Cyclone.
No way.
He banned Cyclone.
Cyclone. We could see another Aftershock game.
All right.
Let's manifest it. I want to see more Aftershock.
Romi's got a smile on his face. I think he's thinking about the possibility of Aftershock.
I just think he was excited that they banned Cyclone.
True. Yeah, he kind of wants that, right? Because they just lost on Cyclone today.
Yeah, they do have a win on Cyclone, though, so
True.
It's not like, wouldn't be that bad.
It would be interesting to kind of hear from these teams what maps they would kind of pick in a situation like this. That might be a cool little segment or cool little interview question that we could potentially ask them if we catch them backstage or something like that. All right, let's see. TXT FX elimination game tomorrow in the lower bracket. It's going to be decided on the map of
we're back. We're back, baby. Cracked again. This is great news if you're FX fans. We saw FX roll Reborn on Cracked in Game 3 of their matchup. I think this is probably best case scenario for FX in consideration.
Attacker in first round.
And they pull attacker first round.
Nice.
If you're an FX fan, best case scenario 100%.
Yep.
Absolutely. Stare down coming from Wormy right there as the handshake gets completed. All right, there we go. The stage is set for both of our elimination games tomorrow on the initial part of the day. We're seeing no variety.
No new maps. We're playing Cyclone again into Crack.
Awesome.
Still haven't seen Fault. Still haven't seen Threshold. Still haven't seen Trainwreck.
Yep.
Wild. I'm loving it, though. Listen, it's all randomized for now. We get to more picks later. And who knows, we maybe see some Game 3s again, where we could see some of those new maps that aren't currently shown. And again, because we have the winners of these two games playing each other after this, we'll do another one of these picks and bans live in the stadium before the match starts, right? So that is the other thing to consider. This third matchup will be the first one that doesn't have a full day of preparation behind it.
Ooh.
So the winners are going to have to kind of think on their feet and do some live planning like we saw last year. So that is another thing to consider. If FX were able to pull out a sneaky win here or something, or TXD win in pretty handedly fashion, all the preparation that TXD oftentimes does, they won't have the time for going into either the winner of HYD or HAN.
Yeah, absolutely. So some cool stuff to think about, man. Day number 2 was great. Day number 1 was also great. I'm excited to jump into more action tomorrow.
That's right. Well, folks at home, that is it for us here in the booth. Day 2 is wrapped up, and tomorrow is all about the elimination day. You're not going to want to miss it. Same time, same place. You know exactly where to find us. We'll be there live all night, all morning, wherever you're at. One quick reminder, we couldn't do it without you, the viewer. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow.
申し訳ないです。なんと言って草。ありがとうございました。